Right now, you think you remember this morning. You think you remember what you had for breakfast, what the light looked like, maybe a conversation you had. You think those memories are stored somewhere safe, like files on a hard drive, waiting to be retrieved exactly as they happened. But here is the thing. They are not. Not even close. Your memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. And every single time you remember something, you are not playing back the past. You are rebuilding it from scratch with whatever materials your brain has lying around. And sometimes those materials are wrong. This is not a glitch. This is not damage. This is how human memory has always worked. And once you understand why, you will never look at your own past the same way again. In 1974, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus ran one of the most unsettling experiments in the history of cognitive science. She showed participants footage of a car accident. Simple enough. Then she asked them a question, but she changed one word. Half the group was asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. The other half was asked how fast they were going when they smashed into each other. That single word. Hit versus smashed. One syllable of difference. And yet the smashed group estimated significantly higher speeds. They also reported seeing broken glass in the footage. There was no broken glass. Loftus had not altered the video. She had altered the memory by asking a different question. Your brain heard a word, and it rewrote what you saw. Think about what that means. You were not there. You were not in that car. You had no stake in the answer. And still, a single word from someone else reshaped what you believed you witnessed with your own eyes. Now imagine what happens to the memories that actually matter to you. The ones you have told 100 times. The ones soaked in emotion. Here is what is actually happening inside your skull when you remember something. A memory is not stored in one place. It is distributed across your brain as a pattern of connected neurons. Sensory details here, emotional tone there, context somewhere else. When you remember, your brain reassembles those pieces in real time. It pulls the image from one region, the feeling from another, the surrounding details from another, and then it stitches them together into something that feels seamless, feels whole, feels true. But stitching takes judgment, and judgment makes choices, and choices can be wrong. Neuroscientist Daniel Schachter at Harvard spent decades cataloging what he called the 7 sins of memory. Things like transience, absent-mindedness, misattribution, suggestibility, bias, persistence, and blocking. What strikes you reading that list is not that memory fails occasionally. It is that memory is structurally, architecturally prone to distortion. Not as a malfunction, as a feature. Your brain did not evolve to store perfect records of the past. It evolved to help you survive the future. So it takes shortcuts. Every time you retrieve a memory, your brain does something called reconsolidation. You pull the memory out of storage, which makes it temporarily unstable, like lifting a file out of the cabinet and setting it on the desk. While it is out, it is vulnerable. New information can slip in. Emotions in your current state bleed into it. The context of now reshapes the content of then. And when you file it back, you are not filing the original. You are filing the edited version, which becomes the new original. You have done this thousands of times without knowing it. This is why two people can share the exact same experience and remember it completely differently. It is not that one of them is lying. It is that both of them have been continuously editing their version ever since. The fight you remember having with someone 10 years ago, the way you remember what they said, the look on their face, the exact words. They remember a different fight. Neither version is the original, because there is no original anymore. Psychologist Frederick Bartlett demonstrated this as far back as 1932. He asked participants to read an unfamiliar Native American folk tale and then retell it from memory, repeatedly, over weeks and months. With each retelling, the story shifted. Strange or culturally unfamiliar details disappeared. Details that fit the participants' own cultural framework expanded. The story became more coherent, more familiar, more like something they already believed. Bartlett called this process effort after meaning. Your brain is not storing the past. It is constructing a version of the past that makes sense to you right now. And right now is always changing. There is a specific kind of memory that reveals this most brutally. Flashbulb memories. The ones you would stake your life on. Where you were when you heard the worst news. What you were doing. Who told you? These feel different. They feel carved in stone. Researchers Roger Brown and James Kulik coined the term in 1977 to describe this phenomenon, memories so vivid and detailed they seem photographic. For decades, they were believed to be more accurate precisely because of their emotional intensity. They are not. Studies conducted after major collective traumas have found again and again that people's confident, vivid, emotionally intense memories of where they were and what they were doing are riddled with errors. Not small errors, large ones. Entire facts missing, locations wrong, companions misremembered. And when shown records or contradictory evidence, people do not update their memory. They defend it because it feels real, because it feels like they were there. You were there. You just rebuilt it so many times that the reconstruction replaced the event. So what does this mean for who you think you are? Your identity is largely a story, a narrative you have constructed from selected memories, edited over time, arranged into something coherent. The childhood that shaped you, the relationships that defined you, the moments you return to when you explain yourself to others or to yourself in the dark at 3 in the morning. Those moments are real. Something happened. But the version you carry is not a photograph. It is a painting done from memory. And every time you look at it, you touch it up a little. This is not a reason to despair. This is a reason to be curious. Because here is the counterintuitive truth that researchers like Loftus have pointed to for years. The fact that memory is malleable is also what makes you adaptable. A mind that could not update its past would be trapped in it. You heal from trauma partly because memory softens. You forgive partly because memory rewrites. You learn partly because memory reorganizes the past around new understanding. The plasticity that makes memory unreliable is the same plasticity that makes growth possible. Your ancestors did not need perfect records. They needed useful models. A rough map of what hurt them, what helped them, who to trust, what to avoid. Not archived footage. A living, updating story that served survival. You inherited that system, and you are running it right now. The memories shaping your decisions today are not objective transcripts of events. They are summaries written by a brain trying to keep you alive and moving forward. They are biased toward meaning, toward familiarity, toward the self-image you are currently maintaining, which means the story you tell about yourself is more flexible than you think, more changeable, and perhaps more worth examining than you ever realized. So the next time you remember something with absolute certainty, something you would bet on, something you have told a dozen times and feel completely sure of, pause for just a moment. Not to doubt yourself into paralysis, but to ask a quieter question. Is this what happened? Or is this what you needed to have happened? Because right now, you think you remember this morning, and maybe you do. Or maybe you have already begun to rewrite it, one small detail at a time, without noticing at all.